Hello, my name is Sean Jamie and I'm a civil engineer with AECom. In this video, I will talk about the design concepts at Brewster Avenue as they relate to the rail alternatives. If you haven't done so already, please visit the video clips that describe the 4 alternative rail profiles currently being studied in Redwood City. Those can be found here. To access the exhibits at Brewster Avenue, please click on the blue graphic in the middle portion of the table under the Brewster Avenue label. This will take you to the alternative selection screen, providing you with 3 icons to choose from: Alternative 1 and 2, Alternative 3, and Alternative 4. First, we'll take a look at Alternatives 1 and 2. The first icon takes you to an exhibit that shows the grade separation at Brewster Avenue for Alternatives 1 and 2, which provides grade separation for all modes of travel: motor vehicles, pedestrian, and bikes. There are several options to click on here. There's full screen mode, download, and section views. We'll start in full screen mode. Full screen mode will give you the ability to zoom and pan so that you may look at the plan and the profile in greater detail. In these alternatives at Brewster Avenue, the tracks are raised between 24 to 26 feet, as shown on the profile. The road will remain at grade, as shown by the gray coloring, and will be widened and restriped. The elevation created by raising the tracks provides the vertical separation needed for the road to pass under the proposed structure without impact to any mode of connectivity. The blue depicts the station platform. The reddish color depicts the pedestrian bike ramps. These will provide a connection between Brewster Avenue and the station platforms. In this concept, the main modification is at Perry Street. The road is proposed to be shifted to the west in order to provide the required spacing for sight distance and turning movements of larger vehicles, such as buses. Perry will now be shown as 2 14-foot shared lanes in each direction with 8-foot sidewalks on the west side. Some property may be acquired to accommodate this design. The potential property acquisition areas can be seen in red. Now to exit full screen mode, click the X. Now back at the main view, we will see the section cut lines. These are depicted in blue with arrows on each end. The arrows help to identify in which direction the sections are looking. Let's start with Section A. Here we will be standing on Brewster, looking east towards Aguelo Street. You can see the section is shown with on grade, providing a 10-foot sidewalk, an 8-foot bike lane, and 2 11-foot travel lanes in each direction. Here at Section B, we will be standing at the station platform looking south. You can see Aguelo and Perry Street, and also how much the rails and station platforms have been elevated over the adjacent roadways. Lastly, you can click the download button to obtain a PDF so that you may view it later. Once you are done viewing this alternative, you may click the X and return to the alternative selection screen. Icon 2 is for Alternative 3. Like the previous example, Alternative 3 will raise the tracks, but this will also depress the road to fully grade separate the road from the rail. The rail will be raised about 16 feet and the road will be depressed 9 feet, as can be seen on the profile. Connectivity for all modes of travel will be maintained. We can see that 2 new colors have been added. The depressed sidewalk is depicted in the dark blue, and the depressed roadway is depicted in purple. The green dots identify driveway modifications based on the roadway's depression. As we can see on the profile, the roadway begins its descent just west of Commercial Way, dips under the railroad bridge, and ends its ascent roughly 95 feet east of Aguelo Street. Note, this profile view is exaggerated 5 times on the vertical axis to allow us to see the elevation differences between the roadway, the existing ground, and the tracks more easily at this scale. At Perry Street, the same realignment is shown as in the previous exhibit. The impacts for this one differ due to the roadway depression at Brewster Avenue. Perry Street will still show the two 14-foot shared lanes in each direction with an 8-foot sidewalk. There will be some additional grading at Commercial Way to adjust to match the roadway on Brewster Avenue. And on Aguelo Street, the lowering of Brewster Avenue will have impacts to the access of a few buildings and driveways. As shown here on the corner property, the pedestrian ramp is provided in order to maintain access to this business. A similar approach of providing ramps on the businesses to the north will be done as needed. The driveway here is close to where we will be matching existing grade and will have a slight modification. The driveway closest to the intersection connects to a subsurface garage, and the lowered road will reduce the slope of the driveway entering this garage. Here, this driveway is very close to where we match existing grade and will have a slight modification. Now let's exit full screen mode and look at the profiles. Profiles we'll look at for Perry and Aguelo will basically be longitudinal sections along the center lines of these roadways. Let's start with Perry. Perry Street will begin its descent just past the apartment driveway and meet the elevation of the depressed Brewster Avenue about 5 feet below grade. The apartment driveway, shown here, will have to be adjusted to match the elevation of lowered Perry. Next, on Aguelo, the profile begins its descent and will come down and match the lowered Brewster and then end its ascension here at the next driveway. The green dots will show the driveways that have to be adjusted. As shown in the previous example, we will look at a typical section on Brewster. We will be looking east towards Aguelo Street. We will see that the section provides the 10-foot sidewalk, 8-foot bike lanes, and two 11-foot lanes on both directions, but is depressed 9 feet below grade. Here, we will see the platforms looking south above Aguelo and Perry Street. Lastly, you can download this PDF so that you may view it later. Lastly, the third icon is for Alternative 4, which only grade separates Whipple Avenue, so the elevation of the rails at Brewster Avenue will remain as it exists today. The station platforms will be placed between Brewster Avenue and Broadway, as can be seen here in the blue. Due to safety concerns of having a 4-track station at grade, Brewster Avenue will be closed between Perry Street and Aguelo Street to all modes of travel. That's motor vehicles, pedestrians, and bikes. As we can see, the legend has been updated to include a red X, which depicts access removed, which can be seen here and here. At the intersection of Brewster Avenue and El Camino Real, Brewster Avenue has been updated to include a through lane in both the east and west direction, a left turn pocket, a 2-way left turn lane, two 8-foot bike lanes, and the placement of landscaping areas along the street. Perry Street does not need to be realigned in this alternative because right turns are not allowed from the northbound direction. Perry Street will still be shown as two 14-foot shared lanes with an 8-foot sidewalk. On Aguelo Street, the west side sidewalk will now extend across Brewster Avenue, creating a T intersection. The intersection will be restriped accordingly. The section of Aguelo Street is unchanged. The only modifications are to the pavement markings and the west side sidewalk. The sidewalk is conceptual to either incorporate bus or car passenger drop-off or potential parking. Now let's look at the section. Similar to the previous sections, you will be looking south from the platforms towards Broadway. This section does not show any elevation difference. Rather, the rails, station platform, Aguelo Street, and Perry Street will all be running side by side. Lastly, the ability to download the PDF so that you may view it later. This concludes the Brewster Avenue alternatives. Thank you.